When life feels dark, pray this. Psalm 27, Morning Prayer. Heavenly Father, we come into this morning slowly. Some days begin with lightness, others begin with a weight we cannot quite name. And today, for many of us, the morning feels heavy. Life feels uncertain. The path ahead feels unclear. Our hearts woke up carrying questions, fear, or quiet sadness. So we pause here with you. We do not rush past how we feel. We do not pretend the darkness is not there. We simply arrive as we are. We take a gentle breath, and then another. Let the noise of the night soften. Let the tension in our bodies begin to loosen. There is no urgency here, no pressure to fix what feels broken, no need to have answers before we pray. God, thank you that your presence is not distant when life feels dark. Thank you that your light does not disappear when clarity is missing. Even now, before anything changes, you are near. We do not have to escape the darkness to find you. We do not have to explain ourselves. You meet us right here, in the uncertainty, in the fear, in the quiet places where hope feels thin. Your word reminds us that you are our light, not a harsh light, not one that exposes or overwhelms, but a steady light, a safe light, one that gently pushes back the darkness without rushing it away. As we sit in your presence, something begins to shift, not because the situation has changed, but because we are no longer alone in it. Isolation gives way to companionship. Fear begins to loosen its hold. Our breathing slows. Our thoughts begin to settle. We allow ourselves to be held here for a moment, before decisions, before responsibilities, before the day asks anything of us. It is enough to be here. It is enough to be known. It is enough to rest in your light, even while the darkness still lingers. And from this place we begin the day not driven by fear, but gently anchored in your presence. And as we remain here in your light, God, we gently turn toward what has been stirring beneath the surface. The fears we don't always say out loud, the worries that follow us quietly through the day, concerns about the future, about health, about relationships, about prayers that seem to echo without an answer. We bring them to you without shame. We do not push them away. We do not judge ourselves for having them. We simply acknowledge that they are here. Some of these fears have been carried for a long time. They did not arrive suddenly. They grew slowly in seasons of waiting, uncertainty, and fatigue. And we confess how heavy that has felt. God, thank you that fear does not disqualify us from your care. Thank you that anxious thoughts do not surprise you. You are not startled by trembling faith. You are not disappointed by our honesty. We name our fears gently now, not to give them power, but to stop carrying them alone. We place them into your presence where they no longer need to hide and no longer need to be managed by our own strength. If we have felt pressure to appear calm, to stay positive, to hold it together for others, we let that pressure go. We do not need to perform peace for you. We are allowed to be real here. As we open our hearts, something softens inside us. The tightness begins to ease. The need to protect ourselves begins to loosen. Fear is still present, but it no longer isolates us. You hold it with us now, steady, patient, compassionate. And in that shared space we begin to exhale, not because everything feels resolved, but because we are no longer alone with what we carry. And as we hold our fears gently before you, God, we begin to remember who you are. You are our light. Not a light that flickers when life grows heavy, not a light that fades when answers are slow to come, but a steady presence that remains, even when the path feels dim. When uncertainty surrounds us, you are a safe place to stand. When fear tries to rise and take over our thoughts, you remain calm and dear. Your light does not rush the darkness away, but it softens it. It makes the darkness less powerful, less overwhelming, less final. We remember that you have carried us before. There were seasons when we did not know how things would turn out, yet somehow we were sustained, not because everything worked out quickly, but because you stayed with us through it. You were strength when we felt weak. You were shelter when we felt exposed. Today, we rest again in that truth. Our confidence does not come from knowing what will happen next. It comes from knowing who walks with us now. You are near. You are attentive. You are not shaken by what unsettles us. As we reflect on this, something inside us begins to steady. Fear loosens its grip just a little. Our hearts feel more anchored, less tossed by every unknown. We do not need to control the day ahead to feel safe. We do not need to see the whole road. Your presence is enough light for this moment, enough safety for this step. And as we remain with you here, we feel held, not by certainty, but by relationship, not by outcomes, but by your faithful, steady care. And from this place of remembering who you are, God, we come to the place where trust is asked of us. Not the kind of trust that comes easily, not the trust we feel when everything is clear, but the quiet kind. The kind chosen in the middle of the darkness, when answers are incomplete, when the way forward is still hidden. We admit that trusting you here is not simple. There are questions we still carry. There are fears that have not fully quieted. There are moments when we wish you would make the path clearer, faster, easier to understand. So we are honest with you. We do not pretend this is effortless. We do not force confidence we do not feel. Instead, we lean toward you as we are. God, help us release the need to understand everything right now. Help us loosen our grip on control. Remind us that trust does not require certainty. It does not require emotional readiness. It only asks that we stay close. Even if fear remains, we choose not to pull away. Even if questions linger, we choose to remain present with you. We place our willingness in your hands, trusting that it is enough. Your guidance is patient. Your leading is gentle. You do not rush us. You do not push us ahead of what we are ready to carry. You unfold the way forward step by step, meeting us in each small moment. As we surrender control, something softens inside us. The tight hold begins to ease. The resistance gives way to rest. We are no longer striving to figure everything out. We are learning to stay. Trust begins to form quietly, not as a bold declaration, but as a steady presence, a choice to remain with you in the unknown, a willingness to walk without seeing the whole road. And here, in this gentle surrender, we find a deeper rest, not because the darkness has lifted, but because we are no longer carrying it alone. And now, God, we allow ourselves to rest, not because everything feels resolved, not because the road ahead is suddenly clear, but because your presence is here. Steady, near, enough. We come into this moment knowing that protection does not always mean the absence of trouble. Sometimes it means peace that stays even when things remain unfinished. Sometimes it means calm in the middle of uncertainty. And sometimes it simply means not being alone. So we rest in you. We picture your presence surrounding us like a quiet shelter, not closing us off from the world, but holding us steady within it. A place where our hearts can slow down. A place where our breathing can deepen. A place where our thoughts do not have to race ahead. As this day unfolds, we trust that you walk with us. Into conversations we feel unsure about. Into responsibilities that feel heavy. Into moments that are loud and moments that are silent. You are there in all of it. When tension rises, you bring calm. When energy fades, you offer strength. When words fail, your presence remains. We do not ask to be spared from every difficulty. We ask to be held through them. We ask for a peace that guards our hearts. A peace that settles us from the inside out. A peace that does not depend on circumstances changing. And slowly, something eases within us. The tightness softens. The fear loosens its grip. We feel less exposed, less alone. Your presence becomes our quiet strength, a steady companion through the day, a gentle protection that allows us to move forward without rushing, to live this day held, watched over, and at rest in you. And God, we bring our waiting to you, not the polished kind, not the patient kind we wish we had, but the real waiting. the kind that feels long, the kind that stretches the heart, the kind that wonders how much longer this season will last. You see how hard it is to wait when answers feel delayed. You see the quiet questions that rise when darkness lingers. You see the moments when hope feels thin, not gone, but fragile, and still you remain close. So we wait with you, not pretending this is easy, not forcing optimism into places that still ache, but choosing to stay present with you in the waiting, choosing not to turn away, choosing not to give up. You remind us gently that waiting does not mean you are absent. It does not mean you are inactive. It does not mean we have been forgotten. Even here, you are working in ways we cannot yet see. Even here, your care continues. Even here, the story is still unfolding in your hands. We hold on to hope quietly, not as a demand, not as a deadline, but as a soft assurance that goodness will still be known, that light will still break through, that this moment is not the end. When the waiting feels heavy, steady us. When discouragement whispers, remind us we are not alone. When fear tries to take root, anchor us in your presence. Hope begins to rise, slowly, not loud, not rushed, just enough to breathe again, just enough to trust that you are faithful in the waiting. And we rest there, waiting, not with despair, but with a quiet confidence that you are still holding us, and that your goodness will meet us in the right time. And now, God, we remain here with you. Nothing needs to be rushed. Nothing needs to be finished. We simply stay. Your light is still present, quiet, steady, unmoved by what lies ahead. Even if the day holds uncertainty, you already know it. Even if questions remain unanswered, you are not unsettled by them. Even if darkness has not fully lifted, your light has not withdrawn. So we rest in that truth. We let our shoulders soften. We let our thoughts slow. We allow the gentle peace of your presence to settle into places that have been tight for too long. There is no need to carry everything forward at once. This moment is enough. Your nearness is enough. As we move into the hours ahead, we do so quietly held. Not pushed, not rushed, not alone. Your light goes with us into ordinary moments, into unexpected conversations, into tasks both small and heavy, into silence, into noise. And even if the darkness returns in waves, it no longer feels overwhelming, because your presence remains, because your care does not fade, because we are not walking by ourselves. So we breathe again, slowly, deeply. We trust you with this day. We trust you with what we understand. We trust you with what we don't, and we rest here, held in your light, surrounded by your peace, carried gently forward. Amen.